All right, today we are firing up the engines on what is, without a doubt, one of the most important credentials in technology. We're talking about the CompTIA Network Plus, your personal IT career launchpad. So, ask yourself this. Are you ready to make that move? The one that takes you from just being interested in tech to actually building a real career in it? Maybe you're eyeing a role as a network administrator or even a cybersecurity analyst. Well, if that's you, you are in exactly the right place. Because that whole journey, it really can start with this one key, one single powerful credential that opens the door. Okay, let's dive in. First things first, we're going to break down what the Network Plus actually is, and maybe more importantly, why it matters so much. So, what is it? Simply put, the Network Plus is your proof. It's this globally recognized stamp of approval that tells any employer anywhere in the world that you have the core skills to handle the backbone of their entire operation. We're talking building, securing, and fixing the very networks that everything else runs on. And here's a term you've got to know. Vendor neutral. This is a huge deal. Think of it like learning the universal language of networking. A vendor-specific cert like Cisco's CCNA is fantastic if you're working in a Cisco shop. But Network Plus, it teaches you the fundamental rules that apply everywhere, whether it's Cisco, Juniper, or even networking up in the cloud with AWS or Azure. This makes you incredibly adaptable. And that versatility is exactly what employers are looking for. When they see Network Plus on a resume, they know you can do the real-world stuff. They know you can set up core services like DHCP and DNS, the things that let computers actually talk to each other. They know you can fire up a tool like Wireshark and figure out what's going wrong. And maybe most critically, they know you understand how to work like a professional, even when things get stressful. Okay, so you get why it's important. Now, let's talk about how you get it. It's time to decode the current exam, the N10-009. Let's just call this your official mission briefing. Here are the vital stats you need to know. Up to 90 questions in 90 minutes. Right off the bat, that tells you that your pacing has to be on point. You need to be confident and keep moving. The passing score is 720 on a scale that goes up to 900. So you've got a little wiggle room, but not a ton. And really pay attention to the question types. It's not just a memory test with multiple choice. You're going to face performance-based questions, which are basically hands-on simulations where you have to prove you can do the work, not just talk about it. Now, to study smart, you've got to know where to focus your energy. This chart, this is your map. And just look at it. Troubleshooting and networking concepts are the two biggest chunks of the pie. Together, they make up almost half of the entire exam. That's where you need to spend your time. Everything else, implementation, operations, security, it all builds on that foundation. Let's just pause on that number for a second. 24%. That's right. Nearly a quarter of your entire grade comes down to one thing: troubleshooting. This isn't about memorizing facts from a book. This is about your ability to think like a detective and solve problems when the pressure is on. Seriously, mastering this skill is the absolute key to passing this exam. All right, mission briefing complete. You know what you're up against. Now let's chart a course to get you there. This is your path to passing. This is your flight plan. Look, this doesn't have to be some overwhelming, impossible task. You can absolutely nail this with a manageable 8-week plan. For the first 2 weeks, you just focus on the fundamentals. Really master the OSI model and subnetting. Then in weeks 3 and 4, you get into implementation, how to configure things like VLANs and Wi-Fi. Weeks 5 through 7 are all about operations and security. And then that last week, that's your final approach. It's all about doing full-length practice exams to get your timing and your confidence right. And when you're practicing all that troubleshooting, you need to burn this method into your brain. This isn't just good advice. This is the literal step-by-step process that the exam is designed to test. You have to have a system. You document the problem, you try to make it happen again, you isolate the cause, you test one thing at a time, you verify the fix, and then you document what you did. That flow is what separates the pros from the amateurs. So if you're making one final checklist for yourself, these are the non-negotiables. You have to be able to do subnetting in your sleep. You need to be able to use the OSI model like a mental map to find problems. You've got to know your main protocols and their port numbers, DNS, DHCP, HTTPS, know them cold. And you have to understand the basics of how switches and routers move traffic around using things like VLANs. If you're solid on these, you are in great shape. Okay, passing the exam is a huge moment, but trust me, it's not the end. So let's talk about what happens after you pass. Let's talk about your launch day and the future you're about to unlock. First, just a few practical details. The exam voucher is going to run you about $390. Once you pass, that certification is good for 3 years. To keep it active, you'll need to earn 30 continuing education units or CEUs. And honestly, that's a good thing. It's CompTIA's way of making sure you stay current in a field that is always changing. It's like a built-in reminder to keep learning. I absolutely love this quote because it just nails it. This certification is not the finish line. It's not the final goal. It's the solid platform you build so you can launch yourself into whatever amazing tech career you want. And just look at where that launchpad can take you. You can go deep and become a specialized network engineer, maybe go for that CCNA next. Or you can pivot into the red-hot field of cybersecurity and add the Security Plus. You could even aim for the most modern jobs out there in cloud, DevOps, or systems reliability engineering. This one certification opens up all of those doors.
So, the foundation is solid, the skills are exactly what companies are hiring for right now, and the path forward is clear. Your launchpad is officially ready for ignition. The only real question left is, where are you going to go next?